Hi, I'm Stephanie and let's talk books. So today I have a book haul for you guys. Actually, two book hauls because I have one that I recorded and I never edited or uploaded, and I've got a whole bunch more books. So we're going to go ahead and cut to that footage, and then I'll come back and show you some of my newer hauls. So first off, I went ahead and picked up the other two Mistborn books in this large floppy paperback format for my annotated reread of Mistborn. These are the covers that they used for the YA editions of these. They are exactly the same on the inside as all the other Mistborn books. They just get shelved in the YA section. Publishers do that sometimes, and just to try to get more people to read the books. And I think that Vin is a character that would resonate with a lot of young girls, and it's definitely an awesome series, and that makes me excited that more people are going to read it. And next up, I picked up a couple of used books from my local library's used book sales. I got the Black Powder War, which is the second book in the Temeraire series. I have the second one. I need to find the first one so I can actually read it. But this is a story set during the Napoleonic Wars, except they have dragons. And I'm always up for dragons, and I like French stuff too, so I have super high hopes for the series. I also picked up A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin, so now I am just missing the last book in the series in this paperback edition. I do plan on starting this series this year, but I need to wait until after Wheel of Time is over because I cannot handle another super giant fantasy series with 8,000,000 characters right now, because my brain is just full. It's full of Wheel of Time. It's overflowing with Wheel of Time. Many of Wheel of Time characters have already leaked out of my head. So, George, we'll come back to you later. So got the Revenge of the Sith novelization. I have read a couple of the Star Wars movie novelizations. I tend to enjoy them. I'm a big prequel fan, and I just love the cover with Darth Vader, and this was mostly a cover buy because I think it's going to look super awesome on one of my Star Wars shelves. I also picked up Bloodline. This is one of the new canon Star Wars novels that came out as the new movies have been being released. It follows Princess Leia, and it is set, I want to say, like 5 years or so before The Force Awakens. It wasn't my favorite of the Star Wars novelizations. It had a little bit too much politics in it as far as my preference. I prefer a little bit more action and less politics in my Star Wars books, but it was still really good. I do enjoy Claudia Gray, and her Star Wars novelizations tend to be better in my opinions than some of the others. And again, beautiful cover, gonna look nice on my shelf. It was $1. And I also grabbed this copy of The Great Hunt, which is the second book in the Wheel of Time series. I have been trying to collect all of the hardcover US editions of the Wheel of Time, but there's quite a few that I am missing. So if I see a paperback for super cheap, I've been picking it up so that I can at least have a copy of all of the Wheel of Time. And so when I saw this at my library, I went ahead and picked it up. I actually prefer these big floppy paperback covers to the original hardcover covers, and I kind of wish that I had stuck with these as opposed to the hardcovers, but I'm kind of already committed, and I don't think this is a series that I'm going to want multiple complete sets of books from, as long as I have at least one copy. I also picked up a couple more Star Wars books. I got Queen's Shadow by E.K. Johnston. This is a story that follows Padme Amidala, and it takes place between episodes 1 and episode 2 as she is transitioning out of her role as queen and into her role as senator. It's a really fun story. I love Padme. She is one of my favorite Star Wars characters, and I was super excited to see that with the new canon novels, they have not been afraid to go back and actually do some prequel era stuff. Oh, I really enjoyed this. I'm excited because there's a second one coming out called Queen's Peril, and I believe that one is about her assuming the throne when she's 14, which I think is an absolutely bonkers thing to think about a 14-year-old running an entire planet, but Padme is no ordinary 14-year-old, and I'm very excited for that one. I have seen the cover, and it is also stunning, and I am really excited for more love from a girl Padme. And speaking of awesome Star Wars women, I got myself a copy of Amy Radcliffe's Women of the Galaxy. This is a book that is full of character bios of some of the wonderful Star Wars women, as well as stunningly beautiful art for all of them. I do really like Star Wars, and so I was familiar with quite a few of the characters in this book. However, there are certain areas of the Star Wars fandom where I haven't really explored, such as the comics and graphic novels and video games, so it was really interesting to learn about some of the characters from some of those areas, and it has gotten me excited to maybe try some of them out so I can get to meet some of these great characters. But I really love this, and it's such a beautiful book, and I'm really happy I decided to get my own copy of it. And lastly, I have Age of Death by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the 5th book in his Age of Legends series, and I'm absolutely loving this series. I'm super excited because the last book is coming out in May, right by my birthday, and I have already placed a pre-order for that. This was on high on my TBR to read in February, as that was when it was released. I'm super excited to have it, and love this stunningly beautiful cover art on this entire series. Alright, back to the present day, and let's look at some books. So I did some book shopping at some of my local bookstores as we were leading in the direction of having a stay-at-home order here in Florida, and I wanted some reading material. I picked up a box set of the original Mistborn trilogy in their original covers that are being discontinued. They've come out with a whole new set of covers, and so I wanted to grab a set of these before they got really hard to find. I also picked up a copy of Dune by Frank Herbert. This one also got a new cover design recently, and I absolutely love these new covers. I like the bold graphic colors and kind of the minimalist design. It gives me really cool sci-fi vibes, and if I end up really enjoying this book, I will probably pick up the rest of the series in this new cover because, yeah, they're just super pretty. I also got a copy of Obsidio. This is the 3rd book in the Illuminae Files because I've been reading that series and absolutely loving it, and this was on deep discount at one of my local bookstores, so I went ahead and picked it up. I think the cover design on these is super cool. You can see the dust jacket is actually got some transparent sections so you can see the print on the actual hardcover underneath, and I thought that the design of that was just so cool. The design of the series is just beautiful with kind of the crazy text layout and everything, and so I thought this would definitely be a series that was worth having a physical copy of because I really enjoyed it. On that same trip, I also found a copy of The Spartan Way on deep discount. And since I am training for some Spartan races at some point in time, whenever races start happening again, I thought this would be a great book to have to read while we have all of our sporting events canceled or postponed to help with the motivation. I have read one of the other Spartan books written by Joe DeSena, and I thought it was really good, so I wanted to check this one out. I also found this little beauty at my local used bookstore. This is a middle grade Star Wars book that came out when The Phantom Menace came out, and I had a copy of this as a kid, and it was something that I read a lot. It's a diary written from the perspective of Queen Amidala during the first movie, and I just thought it was really awesome, and it was $1, and I thought I would add this to my Padme collection because I kind of started a little Padme shelf in my library. I did pick up one new release, that is Heart of Flames by Nikki Palpretto. I really enjoyed the first one, Crown of Feathers, and it didn't seem like my local library was in any hurry to pick this up, so I went ahead and got myself a copy. And again, this is one that has beautiful, beautiful cover art. Love the phoenixes. I also got volume 2 of The Malloreon. This is the second series by David Eddings that is set in this fantasy world, and it was a series that I read and loved growing up, and I did have the part 1 of this multi-book bind-up, so I needed part 2 so I could have all of the books. I am wanting to reread all of the books that are set in this world of the Bulgariad this year, and so now I have these ones. And last but not least, I picked up a couple of Brandon Sanderson books for my collection. I have the first 2 volumes of the White Sand graphic novel in paperback. The third one is not been released in paperback yet, so I'm going to wait on that one. That should be sometime later this year because it did come out last year. I have read the first volume, but I read it back in 2018 when I didn't have a lot of experience with graphic novels, so I kind of wanted to put this series on hold and get some more experience reading graphic novels and then come back to it and see if I was able to appreciate it more. So once I'm able to get the third volume, I'm going to be binge reading this series, because I do also think that one of the reasons I didn't like the first one so much is because it wasn't a complete story, and with graphic novels and manga, you really do have to give them more than one volume before you judge the story, because you're only getting such a small chunk of the story at one time. So I have those. And I also got a hard copy of Elantris because I don't have one yet. And this is the US edition, the 10th anniversary text, which has been updated. So now I will have this one, and I'm working on getting all of the US hardcover editions of all of the Cosmere works. So that is it for this book haul. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know, have you purchased any books recently for your quarantine reading?